Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman Miniature Game 3rd Edition Battle Report. This time for you we have 350 rep of a Joker crew versus 350 rep of a Two-Face crew. On the same map layout as the last couple have been, but that's going to get changed up after this. So say goodbye to this table layout, and there's a lot of miniatures on both sides, a lot of guns. It's probably going to be a very bloody one, but let's go into some detail about each crew. Well, I say a lot of guns. I guess that depends on how you classify nail guns and dynamite. But this is the Joker crew being led by the Back to Gotham Joker, which is now, well, at the end of April, going to be available separately from the new starter set if you're interested in just picking up this Joker, or the rest of the starter set other than him, if you're curious. And then also Thug 6 from the Back to Gotham box as well. He's joined by some classic miniatures from the old Joker Bat box, Whiteface, Dynamite and Buffoon. Buffoon's the one with the nail gun. Even further back, we have Panda Man with his gun, his sniper, which is really, really good. And he's from the Jared Leto Elite Claws players, but you're allowed to bring one, even if you're not playing with the Jared Leto Joker. He has also been upgraded with neurotropic drugs, I think it's called. It gives him fast and dodge. So don't let his size deceive you. He is able to dodge bullets. And then, as a free agent, we have the classic Killer Croc. Still my favourite Killer Croc version of him. And yeah, he's going to round off the free agent slot. So as is usual with Two-Face 3rd Edition crews, basically all their funding is taken up by the guns they're bringing, so there's no extra add-ons or anything like that. The new Two-Face is of course the leader. He's bringing the classic high security henchman, maybe just got him out of jail on a technicality or something, didn't even have time to change out of his prison jumpsuit. But he's going to be joined. And then there is free agent Gentleman Ghost, the most gentlemanly of all ghosts. Perhaps helping Harvey in some fashion. Second time seen him on the channel, I think. And then there's an assortment of hired goons, 4 mobsters, so there will be 2 blood money tokens for the team to potentially be used if they're remembered. I believe this is gangsters 1, 3, 6 and 7. Could be wrong about that, but it boils down to 2 more Tommy guns and then 2 more rifles. So here we are at deployment, and there is a lot to cover for both sides because of like pre-setup and objective cards and special rules and whatnot. We're using the opposite edges to last time, so your current left and right. The Two-Face crew is on the left, Joker crew is on the right. So to get things started, Two-Face is starting on the good side of the coin, so the twisted side is mixed into his deck. Gentleman Ghost counts as having corporeal on at all times, which means he's immune to stun damage. And High Security Henchman had hidden, and he has opted to be quite dangerous, and he is all the way down there, just outside of deployment for the Joker's crew. Now for Joker's crew, he has deployed, as you can see, and hopefully you can also have seen who has audacity, but of course Killer Croc can start the game in base to base with any sewer marker, and he has opted to go right there. He was one of the last to deploy, and he has Gentleman Ghost over there looking at him, and a gun over there, but that's kind of playing into Joker's hand. Oh, and Panda Man is up here on the building here, because he's not playing 1 but 2 cards in phase 1 for battle round 1. He is playing a Die Hard, and that is being played on Panda Man. So as long as he's alive, that's going to score. But he's also playing Let's Dance, a friendly model with the leader sidekick of free agent rank suffers damage. So if anyone actually opts to shoot at poor Killer Croc, you give Joker points. So that puts it makes it a bit weird, because he's definitely in a position where he can cause some havoc turn 1, right start, like he starts smack dab in the middle line of the map, more or less. That harkens back to like the very first game recorded of 3rd edition, I think, where Killer Croc did almost an identical thing. To less effect because it was against the Batman crew, but against Two-Face, I don't know, we'll see. So it is the Joker crew who is getting first activation, so with that we will jump into battle round 1 and see how things proceed. For Joker's crew, it was Thug 6, the bodyguard, baseball bat wielding guy from the Back to Gotham box, who got things started without audacity but close enough to Joker that he had a free manipulate. He did a move action, and he made use of the fact that High Security Henchman was so brazen with his deployment. He put down a suspect marker well within the required distance to score a Let Them In on the Joke, which is not a normal card to score in a battle round 1. Friendly model with the Trickster trait, Joker gives all his henchmen Trickster. Places a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy model. When this happens, both players discard a card from their hand at random, which was also done. But that is already on the board for 2 victory points. Two-Face's crew's first activation was Gangster 7, which is the one with the bolt-action rifle that looks like Steve Pemberton. He didn't have Audacity. He was close enough to have a free manipulate from Two-Face. He did not use it though. He stayed where he was. He played as a resource for 1 resource point, heads or tails, and because Two-Face is on the good side, when a friendly model performs a ranged attack, place a friendly suspect marker in contact with the target. And the bodyguard Thug 6, has illuminated himself by being right next to this lamp. So he took 6 damage from the high caliber good aim. Sorry, not good aim. Well, he has good aim, but he didn't use it. The gun has accurate and aim on it. Wasn't necessary. This thug only has 4 HP, so he actually got himself murdered. But heads or tails as a resource did proc first, so a Two-Face suspect marker was placed in contact with him before it was done. But yeah, that is him instantly removed. Still no dice rolling yet for Joker's crew. Dynamite activated without Audacity, but close enough to Joker. He was right next to him against his sewer grating. He took a sharp turn around the truck here to get to where you can see him outside of 4 of that lamp, so he's not illuminated. And he did put down a suspect marker, and as you can tell, it was not a suspect marker, it was a stinky fish. Now feasibly, I think High Security Henchman has 10 inches movement. He could probably get to that and reveal it if he wants to do it and get poisoned, which might be worth it because Joker is poised thanks to those cards in Phase 1 to score a lot of victory points in turn 1, but I guess we'll see. The most gentlemanly of ghosts activated next and used his, I forgot what it was called, it's one of his special abilities. It was totally called Concealment, which is a really interesting skill. He had Audacity, so he could use his special action to do this. It means even if he's under the effect of a light, although total vision can still find him, he can only be detected if you're in base to base with him. And he also has a movement of 10, so he can cover quite a lot of ground. He opted to stop right there where you can see him, quite close to Killer Croc, but not in base to base. So if Killer Croc wants to attack him, he's got to get in there. And then he did just place down a suspect marker. He isn't attacking Killer Croc, though, obviously for fear of making Let's Dance score. Well, given that the ghost decided to activate his cloak, Panda Man activated. He just shuffled forwards right to the very edge of the building there and did nothing else with his turn. He is protecting Killer Croc. He's obviously got a line of sight down there. He's got unlimited range on his rifle, although obviously you've got to apply the night roll so he would lose a die if he shot down that. But it does give him a very nice, what was it called in XCOM 2 when you made your sniper watch an area? Kill zone? He's got a nice, I think it was called kill zone. He's got a really nice kill zone right down there. High Security Henchman was next up for Two-Face's crew, and he doesn't have a movement of 10, it's actually just a movement of 8, which was not enough to get him into base to base with the stinky fish, whether he wanted to or not, to reveal it. But he did head over that way, and he did place down a suspect marker of his own, and that is outside of 4 inches of this one, just so you know. And that made it possible to score, one of Two-Face's more annoying ones to score, to make this better. Got to be on the good side. Place a friendly suspect marker within 4 inches of an enemy model and have at least one other friendly suspect marker within 4 inches of a different model. Obviously within 4 inches of Dynamite, and Gentleman Ghost placed one down that's obviously within 4 inches of Killer Croc. So that has scored for 2 for Two-Face, but then, as a resource, Kill Them Twice was played. Search your objective deck for a coin card and immediately play it, then shuffle the deck. So the Twisted Side has already come out on turn 1. Buffoon was next up for Joker within distance of Inspire to get a free manipulate, which he used after his move action to reveal the Two-Face suspect marker that had been there. He then used his actual tactical action to shoot his nail gun into High Security Henchman's back, and the poor sod took 3 blood damage from 3 nails sticking into him. No objective cards scored from doing that, but a little bit of damage done by the Joker crew finally. We're still over this end of the table because Gangster 3 activated next, which is him right there. He activated with Audacity, he's got his Winchester rifle, he used Precise Aim, which means he's not allowed to move at all in his turn, but he gets +2 to his attack dice rolls for ranged attacks, which is really good. As it turns out, utterly unnecessary because who he shot at is Defense 2. Buffoon made the same mistake that Thug 6 did, illuminating himself with that light up there, and Winchester shot rang out through the night and did all 3 hits for 9 blood. I think, how much health does Buffoon have? He has 4 health, so he is, as they say, a very dead. And that is going to score, presumably, because he did have an Audacity marker, heads or tails. Twisted Side, which we're now on. A friendly model inflicts at least 4 damage on an enemy model that has an Audacity marker. Doesn't say an unspent Audacity marker, just says Audacity marker. So presumably that's okay. Heads or Tails has scored, and another clown is down. So now that all the rifles have gone fired, and they won't be firing next turn because they have reload, Joker decided it was time to come out and play. He walked around the corner here, away from the light illuminating here. He paused here and shot one of his 2 loads of ammunition from his pistol, his triple blood pistol, into High Security Henchman. Crit paralysed, but that didn't matter in this instance. It got through the one hit that he did get to roll for moving and firing. So that's another 3 blood to High Security Henchman, putting him at 6 of his 8 health gone. And there are still Tommy guns that haven't shot, so but they also all have reload. But you know, the thing with the Two-Face crew is they can have one really, really good turn of shooting, and then they've got to wait another, well, if they do it on turn 1, they'd have to wait till turn 3, turn 2 to turn 4, etc. But there are still 3 Tommy guns on the field, and those aren't exactly easy to deal with. Gangster 1, whose name is Tommy, so that's the easy one to remember. It's Tommy with a Tommy gun. Activated without Audacity, but close enough to Two-Face to get a free manipulate. He was roughly there. He came forward just a little bit under the monorail train rail here. He put down a suspect marker with the free manipulate. It is outside of 4 of that one, and it is outside of 10 of the 8+2 deployment zone as well, but didn't do anything else, and no cards scored. Whiteface activated, and he was on the kind of right side of that crater there without Audacity, and Joker is now no longer within distance to give him a free manipulate, so he just did a move action. 8 inches, kind of came around the corner here, just outside of 4 of the lamp, and has stopped behind Killer Croc. So now it's either over to the other Tommy Gun gangster or Two-Face himself, and then thanks to murder, death, kills, I believe it's just Killer Croc left for Joker's crew. Gangster 6 with his Tommy gun activated. He was standing between Two-Face and the 2 rifle using guys there. Didn't have Audacity, but did have a free manipulate from being so close to his boss. He walked up here 8 inches and put down a suspect marker. Didn't do anything else, and now it is over to Killer Croc to end off Joker's turn. So to start off Killer Croc's eventful turn, Seasoning the Mix was played as a resource for 1 resource point. At the start of a model's activation, move up to 2 friendly suspect markers 4 inches. There is only the one. Well, I guess you technically could have moved the Stinky Fish, but it doesn't really matter. This one was moved, it's mostly just to mill the cards, so that is gone. Killer Croc, he was there. He does not need to spend a manipulate to go into a sewer grating, and once per game he can leave a sewer grating and keep moving. He made use of this, so we have to come all the way around here. He popped right out of that sewer grating and then moved around here into base to base with both the rifle using gangsters. He opted to attack this one, and he used Power Strike as well. This gangster exerted 2 effort, so Killer Croc also exerted 2 effort. 5 attacks, all went through for 5 blood, 5 stun. Not enough to kill him. They have 6 health, so he's alive on 1 health, but he is very knocked out. Didn't score any cards. He's in base to base with them. He also has Coward's Reward, so if any of them did try and get away from him, he does a free bit of blood damage to them. Does obviously mean that Two-Face is probably going to shoot him. Oh, but that would score less dance. Interesting. So in order to stop that Let's Dance card scoring, Two-Face decided to ignore the large crocodile problem. He walked forward to where you can see him next to the other Tommy Gun gangster, moving so he lost 2 dice. He is an expert marksman though, so he gets +1 to the other 2 dice he was rolling. He shot at Dynamite with his double blood single stun Tommy Gun. Both hits got through for a total of 4 blood 2 stun, and Dynamite actually lived. He has 5 HP, so he's alive on 1, and I think he has 4 will. He only has 4 willpower, so he's 2 away from being knocked out, but he's alive, and that Tommy gun also does have reloads, so Two-Face will not be firing it next turn. But that does take us to the end of a very bloody Battle Round 1. So we do have a lot to cover at the end of Battle Round 1 there. The unconscious gangster that Killer Croc knocked out did not wake up, so he's still going to be unconscious next turn. Killer Croc and Dynamite have healed 1 stun each because they're conscious and had stun damage. And objective card wise, no additional cards being played, but for the ones that were in play for Joker, Let's Dance did not score because Joker and Killer Croc were utterly ignored. Killer Croc wounded himself with efforts, but that doesn't count, so that does not score. Die Hard though, Panda Man lived, so that is 2 points on the board for Joker's crew, and of course the Stinky Fish was ignored, so that is another 2 for a total of 4. With that, we're going into Battle Round 2. So we're at the top of turn 2 and we'll do a little pan over here to show you who has Audacity. Killer Croc does, Two-Face and the Tommy Gun guy next to him does, High Security Henchman does, Dynamite does, Whiteface, Joker, Gentleman Ghost, Panda Man does not, and neither does the other Tommy Gun guy under the bridge there. There is 2 cards, a Phase 1 and a Phase 2, being played by the Two-Face crew, who are also getting first activation this turn. Their Phase 1 card, we just finished seeing it, it's their Die Hard card, and it's being played on Gentleman Ghost. So Gentleman Ghost lives, well, exists, I guess is the better term, exists until the end of the turn, that'll score, and then also the Balance of Justice is being played. An even number of models are removed from the game as casualties this round. Counts all casualties, not just enemy models, but allied models as well. So if an even amount, not odd, are out at the end of the turn, this will also score. So hoping to make sure that that Die Hard scores, Gentleman Ghost activated first for his special action because he had Audacity. He used Concealment so that you have to be in base to base to even see him. He then shot his Phantasmal pistol at Whiteface. Only needed 2+ on 2 dice, but only 1 got through. So that was 3 blood, 1 stun, and the cold effect, so he's got 2 inches off his next movement, because it does slow 2. And then for his actual movement action, to end off his turn, he fled behind the building over here. Again, he can't be seen unless he's in base to base, so Panda Man can't see him anyway, but just making sure to secure those points. So speaking of the Panda Man, he finally got to do something. He shot his modified rifle that has a silencer and a red dot. Silencer just means you can't dodge because you don't hear the shots coming, and red dot is reroll 1 of the dice. He was shooting into the night though, so he lost a die for that, and he shot at Tommy with the Tommy gun with his double blood single stun rifle and got 2 hits through for a total of 4 blood 2 stun. He's still standing of course, but quite a bit of damage done. High Security Henchman was next up for Two-Face's crew. He revealed his own suspect marker that he was in base to base with right in front of him. It became a valuable commodity, so he is now holding the loot that's in play, and it will score for Two-Face's crew at the end of the game if he's still, well, if any of their crew is still holding on to it. He then, as a resource, played They Must Know Pain to heal himself for 2 to try and keep his survivability up and hold on to the loot for longer, and then he retreated to where he started the game. So he's hiding all the way back there with the loot, and potentially worth 3 victory points. Whiteface activated for Joker's crew, this time with Audacity, and also within 8 for a free Inspired Manipulate, which was used to put down a suspect marker that became a Stinky Fish, which is going to be in play for this round, potential 2 victory points. He then moved and then fired his short-range blunderbuss at Tommy with a Tommy gun. It's imprecise and he moved, so he was only rolling 1 die with a -1 to the effects, but he actually still got the hit through for 2 blood, 1 stun. So Tommy with a Tommy gun and no Audacity is dead. And that does mean, as far as models killed this turn, it's an uneven amount, with 1 so far. Two-Face activated and unable to fire his Tommy gun this turn because he's reloading. He charged into Dynamite using his reinforced gloves. Oh, he did get enervating 1 from failing his bipolar, but it didn't matter. He got many hits through on Dynamite, so he did 6 stun for the 3 hits getting through him. He's only defense 2, so wasn't particularly difficult, and he is knocked out, so Dynamite will not be using the Audacity he had. He is unconscious, but for the purposes of the Balance of Justice objective card, doesn't count, has to be removed from the game, so knockouts don't count, has to be casualties. Now, Two-Face has the Judgment rule, so if he punches someone and knocks them out, you flip a coin or roll a die, and then 50-50 chance on whether or not he just instantly executes them. Dynamite got lucky, and he got to live. Killer Croc activated and has been busy over here. He split his attacks. He put 2 on the unconscious gangster. He put the other 3 plus the strength die on the one that was still conscious, who did not effort, and neither did Killer Croc. Only one of those 2 attacks got through because he whiffed, but that was enough to do the 1 blood needed that this gangster, which is the one with the Winchester rifle, Gangster 3, he is dead, which also brings the tally for a number of killed to 2, so they're actually helping Two-Face out here at the minute. He also got 3 hits with his claws through on the other guy for 3 blood, 3 stun. He's still standing, and then he used his movement action to run over here and get into base to base with his Tommy gun guy, because he hasn't shot yet, so he could fire his Tommy gun this turn, so that's trying to reduce the potential for his damage. So the aforementioned Gangster 6 was the next up, but rather than try and fight the giant crocodile, he chose to run away, and in doing so triggered Coward's Reward, so he takes 1 damage because Killer Croc gets an attack off as he leaves. He ran over here, and he's playing for objective points, I guess, because he put down a suspect marker rather than shooting his gun. Joker was the last person to activate for his crew. He moved ever so slightly over in the general direction of Harvey. He put down a suspect marker and as a result has scored another let them in on the joke by him having the Trickster's trait naturally, placing it within 4, and then each player discards a card from their hand at random. So that is it for the Joker's crew in turn 2. It is over to the the bolt action rifle using Gangster to end the turn proper. So for lack of anything better to do, he has moved into base to base with the sewer marker to potentially run away next turn. He couldn't fire because he's reloading. He can fire next turn though, depending on how things go. But that, it does take us to the recovery and scoring. So at the end of battle round 2, there is a lot of scoring to be had, and I think Two-Face's crew is making up some ground here for sure. Dynamite did not wake up, so he is staying unconscious as we go into battle round 3. There is a phase 4 card being thrown into the mix by the Two-Face crew. Stick to the plan. Classic neutral card, have more suspect markers in play than your opponent. They have one color, black. 1, 2, 3, 4 versus just 2 for the Joker, or 3 if you count the fish. So either way, it has scored. Speaking of, the fish has indeed scored for Joker, so that is 2 victory points for the Joker crew on the board. But if we come around this end of the table again, a lot of points are scoring for Two-Face. Valuable commodities still in play till the end of the game. Die Hard has scored for Gentleman Ghost being unharmed, and because Joker's crew killed 2 miniatures, they made Two-Face score the Balance of Justice for an even amount of people dying this turn for 2 more victory points. So here we are at the top of the penultimate turn, battle round 3. It will be Joker's crew taking first activation, and every model they've got left has Audacity, so that's Panda Man up on the building, not that you can do much with it, but hey. Whiteface, Joker himself, Dynamite's unconscious, I guess he's technically not off the table, but, and then Killer Croc over there with Audacity as well. Two-Face has given Audacity to High Security Henchman down there, himself, the other Tommy Gun, Henchman, and Gentleman Ghost. There's one card being played. It is yet another, the Balance of Justice, so we'll see if an odd number of people die in this turn as well, but that is just in play. Valuable Commodities is still in play, and with that, let's jump in. A busy Joker activation got things started. First of all, Let Them Do Their Thing was played. Pick a friendly suspect marker, it becomes an explosive template. Pick a direction, move it 2d6. Anyone under it suffers a double stun, and if it does any damage, score the card. This suspect marker right here has been explodinated. That direction was chosen, and double 6s got rolled. It was hoped to maybe catch Two-Face right there, but it moved 12, which put it roughly here-ish. It caught Whiteface, so Whiteface took 2 stun, but that does mean the card scores because it does not specify enemies, so Let Them Do Their Thing did score. Joker then used the rest of his ammunition firing his gun into Two-Face's gut. Got 2 hits through, well, the hit plus the strength die for 6 blood, but Two-Face has 9 health, so he's still standing, and then Joker partially retreated over here next to this Surgering. Two-Face activated and wanted to chase down the clown, although maybe he got confused and shot the wrong one. He moved over here and used the rest of his ammo that he's going to get for the game to shoot at Whiteface, who was sitting on 1 HP remaining. 4 blood, 2 stun later, Whiteface has been removed. So is the Audacity he had, and obviously he is gone from the game. That is 1 for the tally on the Balance of Justice, and a quick catch a bullet for taking at least 6 damage of any type. Presumably that means you can mix types. I just realised. Inflict at least 6 damage of any type, but it doesn't say inflict 6 damage of any types. Either way, it's scoring in this instance, but never noticed that it wasn't plural when it said type, so it implies you either do 6 stun or 6 blood, not a mixture of both. I don't know. Killer Croc activated and put down a suspect marker, which is not a suspect marker, it is the final Stinky Fish, which is in play. There is potentially 2 people who can grab it if they are willing to get poisoned at this late stage, who knows. He then moved in base to base with the bolt action Gangster to stop him firing, and, well, he can still get away, but Coward's Reward would kick in. Gangster 6 activated with Audacity. He positioned himself strategically between these so that he is within 4 of each of them. He shot at Dynamite, who was unconscious on the floor. 4 blood, 2 stun, not even including like the bonuses you would get from being stunned because it was knocked out, sorry. Because it is not necessary. Dynamite is dead, which brings the tally for the turn on Balance of Justice to 2, but more importantly scores what is very hard to score as an actual objective card. It's mostly in the deck to use to find the coin you need. Kill them twice. Twisted Side. When a friendly model causes an enemy model to become KO or removes an enemy model as a casualty, remove 2 friendly suspect markers within 4 of this model to score this card. Bloop. Bloop. it is scored. So it's already down to the final activation for the turn for Joker's crew. It was Panda Man up here. He shot into the night, losing a die, at the gangster who just activated. 2 hits through for 2 blood, 1 stun each, which is like 4 blood, 2 stun has been done tons of times this match, just because it so happens that a lot of the guns here are doing 2 blood, single stun. Not enough to kill him, even though he's already got 1 blood on him from when he ran away from Killer Croc, because he has 6 HP, so he's still standing, which means that they're not going to throw off the balance of justice unless Two-Face does it himself, because there's only Two-Face miniatures to go. The gangster is in base to base with Killer Croc and the Gentleman Ghost. So we can quickly cover those 2 activations. The gangster manipulated to get out of there into a sewer grating. Courage reward kicked in, so he took 1 blood damage and has emerged down here in Joker's deployment zone. And then Gentleman Ghost, he just came around the corner and put down a suspect marker outside of 4 of the 1 over there. So that does take us to recovery and cleanup for the penultimate round. So everybody who's conscious with stun damage has healed 1, and we do have 1 phase 4 card being played by Two-Face, another stick to the plan. They still have many more suspect markers than Joker's crew, because Joker's crew just has the 1 or 2 if you count the stinky fish. Speaking of which, that fish has scored for Joker's crew, so that is another... that is not in focus, is it? That is another 2 points, whether in focus or not, for Joker's crew. But if we also come around here, again, valuable commodities still in play, but the balance of justice has scored. 2 miniatures died in that turn again. It's an even amount, so that's 2 more on the board for Two-Face. So at the top of Battle Round 4, totally forgot to mention during turn 3, I don't think it was filmed, High Security Henchman's activation. He literally just moved, he's hiding more, and this turn he is the only person on the table for both sides without Audacity. Literally everyone else who's still alive has it, and there's 1 phase 1 card being played, although apparently this is a misprint and it's not meant to be played in phase 1, which kind of makes sense because the text on the card doesn't make sense unless it's during an activation. So presumably it is meant to be a turn 3 card, just playing it now anyway, because that's what's on it. So this is Joker's Showtime. 1d3 plus 2, got a 2, so for a total of 4, that's how many suspect markers within 18 inches of him for the enemy gets sucked in and put in base to base with him. There was only 3, so those are in there. After the first 4 activations of the turn are done, if there's still at least 1 suspect marker in base to base with him, this scores for quite a high 3 victory points. So with that, let's go into what's probably going to be a pretty quick final round. Oh, and it is Two-Face's crew going first. So in a petty act of spite, the gangster with the bolt action rifle activated. He used good aim, he shot into the night, so he only had the 1 die. He hit Panda Man, hit him, and did 3 blood, literally pointlessly. Scored nothing, just did it for fun. Killer Croc activated, moved into base to base with his Tommy gun gangster again, put down his suspect marker, and scored the final, I believe. Let them in on the joke. Because, oh wait, no, he doesn't have the Trickster trait, so never mind. No, he did not. That goes back into the hand, because Joker only gives Henchman the Trickster's trait, not free agents. So that did not score. There isn't really anything else he can do to score anything, so he might as well just disrupt the gangster by getting into base to base with him. So upon looking at the board state after that, in terms of anything that Two-Face's crew can do to score additional points, it came down to whether or not between Two-Face and Gentleman Ghost they could knock out Joker, because otherwise Showtime is going to score. Between the 2 of them they can't reveal 3 suspect markers. Panda Man stuck up there in the building with no ammo left, so he can't do anything to score a card or anything like that. So Two-Face did activate, he got into base to base, reinforced gloves, attacked Joker, who has defense 5, or is this Joker defense 4? Hang on. Yeah, he's defense 4, sorry. Either way, the roll was a whiff after blocks, so he scored nothing. Gentleman Ghost does blood stun, or single stun if you choose not to use his cold cane, which is not enough to take out Joker either. So there's nothing they can do to score any additional cards, or even to mill the deck to get rid of cards. So the game might as well be over for them. Joker's crew only has Panda Man, who can't do anything because he's got no ammo, and Joker, who wants to stay there to score Showtime. He can't take out Two-Face. Well, at best he can maybe knock him out. No, because he's just got blood damage, so no, he couldn't even do that. So we are just going to end the game there. That does mean that Valuable Commodities is going to score for Two-Face's crew, because High Security Henchman is all the way down there. He grabbed his loot, he ran, he has scored it, but also Showtime is going to score for Joker's crew as well. So with that, let's just go to the scoring. And I think it was a very high scoring match for both sides. So I don't know who's got this. I feel like the Two-Face pile is slightly larger, but the Joker cards on average are worth more. I'm going to place a bet, because I don't know. I think I'm going to say Two-Face has taken it, thanks to a little bit of luck in those last two turns. But let's count up. Joker's Crew, so that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's actually not as high as I thought, only 17. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So they did take it with a difference of 3 points. And that is the most effective I've ever seen the Two-Face deck. A lot of serendipitous things happened there to let some hard to score cards score. Finding the coin or finding a card to get rid of to get the coin switched to Twisted early on would have been great, because if the coin had stayed at the good side for longer than a single turn, that would have been murder. It would have been really bad trying to score any cards. So anyway, we'll get the table mixed up, change it up for next time, and maybe see some of those new miniatures that have just been released on the table, hopefully. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please do show your support. See you in the future for more. Ta-ta for now.